Well, hello everybody. This is a video about building my outdoor barbecue kitchen using steel stud. So here you got a picture of the studs I bought. I decided to go with a 20 gauge steel stud. 25 is normally what's used in construction, and the barbecue kitchen kits that I've seen on the internet say 18 gauge. So I kind of picked a happy medium and went with a 20 gauge steel stud. The one thing I did want to show you that was a little different that the store helped me with is this is a track that the studs sit in, and this is what we call a narrow guide or track. This is 20 gauge, but you see the height of it is narrow. This one is another track, but it's much higher, almost a half as high, 20 gauge. So the idea here is because I'm going to go with a concrete countertop, I wanted some additional strength in my guide work, and it also gives me a little bit of adjustment room in adjusting my top plate to be level. Here you can see I've built my first wall. Okay, so these are 2x4 steel stud. And it's actually just like dimensional lumber, smaller than 2x4, but we call it a 2x4. Okay, so I have a narrow track on one end and a double wider track on the other. Now I'm going to show you my plan, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. I drew it on a piece of plywood here, but that's what my kitchen's going to look like. And once it comes together, my plan will actually make sense. But essentially, I've got two 42-inch high walls on the outside, and then on the inside are going to be 3 boxes of 36-inch high where the countertop will sit on top of. And then in this area here will be a breakfast bar. Okay, so this is 42 inches high. This box, and this box will all be 36 inches high. And this here will be 42 inches high, and it will act as a backsplash for my barbecue. And I chose to use a freestanding barbecue, and it's going to slide in here. I did a whole bunch of measurings at different stores. This opening here is going to be 32 inches because that seems to be a very common dimension for a lot of barbecues that will fit in there. So I want to take my barbecue with me when I sell the house, so I want to be able to get another one in there if I have to. So this dimension here is roughly 6 feet. This one here is 6 feet. So 32 inches minus 72 inches gives me 40 inches, so 20-inch face here and a 20-inch face here. I'm going with a 32-inch countertop width here. Okay, so that's the plan, and as I go along I will update you more with what's going on. The one thing to if you're going to build this project, I highly recommend borrowing or renting a metal chop saw, as it makes this job really easy. So how I'm going to do this is I've put in one screw on the bottom on 16-inch centers. Then I'm going to put one screw on the top here on 16-inch centers. And then I'm going to square it up, flip it over, and then square it up and put the screws on the other side to hopefully keep the whole thing square. Not sure if it'll work for me, so we may have to put some corner bracing in to keep it square, but it's the first time I've used steel studs, so I'm not really sure. I will let you know how it goes. Yeah, so onward. So as I expected, when I flipped the unit over, it went out of square. So until the screws on the other side go in, this won't stay square. So what I've done is I've squared up the end, and I've used a pair of vice grips to hold it in place before I screw it. So to make sure it's square, you can measure diagonally from corner to corner, and that will give you your square. And I'm also using a framing square to also check it. So I'm not going to show every panel how I square it up, but just needless to say that each panel needs to be square in order for this all to work. The structural integrity will be coming from the fact that we're making complete boxes out of everything. And when the cement board goes on top of this, it will also help make everything rigid and square. Okay, you can see that I've put some corner bracing on to keep it square. I don't know if I'm going to make those permanent and cut them so that they actually go inside the wall. For now, to hold it together, I'm going to just leave them screwed to the outside. And I'm just using my offcuts to do that. I'm learning as I go, so I'm not sure if cross bracing will be required, since I will be putting cement board on this, like you would put plywood on a wall in a house. So I will let you know if I decide to keep those braces there. Okay, so I'm building the second wall, and on this one, my concrete has a slope to it for water drainage. So this wall is going to be on the slope. So this wall actually has to be 1 inch taller on one end than the other in order for it to be level. So just remember to account for any slope in your concrete. So at this end, I'm 42 inches for my stud. At this end will be 43 inches. And so each stud, working my way, will have to get progressively longer. So I'll measure and put each one in place. Now, because I can't do the triangular measurement for square, what I did is I screwed in the bottom and used a framing square to make a 90-degree corner, and then I clamped it with my pliers. And I did that there and there. That corner there, this corner right here, is not 90, nor is this one. It just is what it is based on the slope of the concrete. But this corner is 90, and that corner is 90. So then this down here, stud, will be a 90 degree to the bottom, but it will not be 90 degrees up here. So just make sure that when you're measuring your 16s that you account for this. Okay, so this one's a little bit unique because of that situation. Okay, and because it's spanning almost 10 feet, I do have to account for it, and I can't just say, oh, a quarter of inch is nothing, because it's almost a full inch.